Hello, welcome to Nahashon Kimemia Live. Today we'll be talking about suicide in Kenya. There's a story that I saw today. It happened on Wednesday, that's 9th January 2019. But I saw it today and I felt a bit sad about it because of the circumstances that led to the suicide, right? So a woman was alleged to have committed suicide at her home. And the first thing we should analyze is that, is this issue worth discussing sort of like in our society, or should we just brush it over and discuss something else, like Moses Kuria seems to have resigned from Jubilee? Is this worth more discussing than the Moses Kuria story? I believe that it is, and this is why. Suicide leaves an impact on society. It not only leads to your own death, but it leads to the death of so many things in our society. And I just want to give an example, right? The total cost of educating a single medical doctor from primary school to university in Kenya, that's 65,000 US dollars, right? For every doctor that we lose who immigrates to another country, we lose about $517,000 in terms of potential return on investment. So that's a lot of losses on one person, one profession, right? The total cost of educating a nurse now, right, from primary to college level is 43,000 US dollars. When we lose that nurse to a foreign country, it cost us 338,000 US dollars in terms of a return on our investment, the cash we put into that nurse. So when somebody commits suicide, it leaves an impact on us because we have invested something in that someone. That someone has something to offer, and now they can no longer offer it, right? As long as you are breathing, you have something to offer. This woman who committed suicide, she was 37 years old. She was still far from retirement, right? She was in good health. She had knowledge of how systems work in her society, in her environment, right? She had built up that system of knowledge for a long time. And she could still bear children. She was not at menopause. And we have lost this kind of person, such a youthful person. 2 years, like officially we say that a youth is between 18 and 35. She was 2 years after past the official definition for a youth. Still young. If Uhuru considers himself young at 60, such that Murathe is asking, where should he go at 60? He's still young. Imagine a 37-year-old woman. What have we lost by losing her? Suicide impacts society, right? That's number one. Number two, it leaves an impact on the loved ones, the guys who have left behind. This woman who died, who committed suicide, she had 3 children. 3 of them, right? Think about it. The mother has committed suicide. These kids immediately, it's a shock to them. They need to go into counseling. They need to go into, who will pay for that therapy? Ideally, the church should be paying for such things. But you know all the church, what they're focusing on. Like there's a church that bought some land, 2.5 billion worth of land in Kasarani. Church who are focusing on Begu and Mercedes-Benz. Who will pay for their therapy? Who will cancel them? Because this is something that does not happen to most children. It happens rarely. Ideally, the government should stay out of such things. It is not its business, right? I'll explain that as we go. Protection. Who will protect these kids? She was the mother of 3. She killed herself, right? Because she felt that she was the only one who could help her kids. So now she's dead. Who will help them? She herself felt that she was the only one who could help them. Now she is dead. Who are they left with? Guidance. Who will guide the kids throughout life? Like there are 3 children, right? Who will guide them through when he becomes 16, when he starts turning into a man? Who will train him? Who will teach him? Who will try and ease his rebellious nature? When the young ladies become of age, who will talk to them about being a woman? Who will tell them that it's okay when their friends laugh at them when they experience their first menstrual period? Those things do not require money. They just require guidance. And now the kids do not have guidance. All because this lady felt that she did not have money. Who will provide for the material needs of the kids? Again, we have 3 basic needs: food, shelter, and clothing. Who will provide for them? She killed herself because of another need that is not part of the basic needs. So now the basic needs are also gone. Who will provide for them, for those basic needs? The children have lost a bond that is necessary for balanced upbringing. We need a father, we need a mother, and then so that the kids can have traits from both of them. In similar ways, they have DNA from both of them to make one complete whole. Right? So now they have lost a balance. Who will provide that balance to them? When the boys are feeling they are too masculine. Their emotions, they are not there. They're trying to hide them away. Who will teach them how to be emotional? How will they know how to interact with ladies if there is not a mom to interact with at this point? Who will teach the ladies how to interact with the dudes? They have also lost a role model. She tried for a long time, and she did. And she got them to a specific point. Are there no lessons in that? So who will teach the kids those lessons? When the kids grow older, who will they say that she never gave up? She kept struggling. I don't know what she did or how she did it. Or she tried her best, we still became poor, but I felt that I should struggle on. And we persevered together. Will those kids have those stories? The self-guilt that the children will feel. Because the woman killed herself because she felt she could not provide for them. So is it their fault? You shall leave your kids with that kind of feeling. And you shall not be there to help them deal with that. Isn't that sad for the kids? The anger that they'll feel for their mother for leaving, that she left them in poverty already when they were in poverty. So now they're in poverty without someone. Won't they feel angry at her? Who will help them deal with that anger? When can they ever sit down and talk to her about the anger that they feel so that they can sort it out? Suicide leaves an impact on your loved ones. It leaves an impact on the person committing suicide. How does it do that? The person does not get a chance to make things right. This woman, she left a suicide note. She regretted that she could not raise the money her daughter needed for her to go to secondary school. There was something wrong. Perhaps her daughter could not go to secondary school today, but perhaps tomorrow she could have gone. So now there's an opportunity that was lost for her to make things right. Perhaps it was not our fault, and I don't think it was our fault for their economic position. But they could have corrected things. But now that chance is lost because she's not there to ensure that correction. A chance to see her kids shine. We all go through pain. We all go through sorrow. The triumph over that is what gives us, that is what vindicates our sorrow. She will not have a chance to be vindicated for all that she has gone through. For all that her kids held her to. They saw her mom suffer. They perhaps saw somebody tease their moms, but they said, that is still my mom. And she's still working hard. So now the kids will not have a chance to feel vindicated for their defense of their mother. Even if not all the kids, but perhaps even one of the kids. If the kids ridicule their mother, they would not have a chance at some point to sit and say, she suffered, true. I ridicule her, true. But now I see the error of my ways. Mom, please forgive me. That chance is lost. she will not realize, like, the daughter, right? She had threatened to kill herself if the mother fails to pay fees, right? So, like I was saying, the daughter wouldn't get a chance now to say, Mom, I'm sorry for saying that. Perhaps I did not get into school, but now I know that school, there are more important things in life. The daughter realized that she may not join school, right? She already had that wisdom. Her mother wouldn't have seen, like, perhaps the wisdom of her daughter manifesting herself in different ways. There's so many things that could have happened. For people who commit suicide because they feel that they've made so many mistakes in their life and they cannot get out of them, suicide blows up your chance of redeeming yourself. Because there is always redemption as long as you have breath in your life. But you lose that chance by taking away your breath. So suicide affects many people, no matter where you are. There's somebody who said you cannot sin alone. Your sin always affects somebody, even if you do it in secret. When you commit suicide, you affect the society. You affect your loved ones, and you affect yourself. The chance for redemption, the chance to make things right, and the chance to feel happy when things finally go right. You deny yourself happiness. So how did things end for this woman, right? Her neighbors found her hanging on a tree. That is how it ended. It could have ended in a different way 50 years to come, because she was still 37, perhaps when she's 87. It could have ended differently for her, perhaps even in 40 or 30 years to come. But she chose to end it by dangling from a tree. We will explain, I'll go into those sorrows and all those kind of things as we go on. So anyway, just to give examples of where people felt despair but they did not give up. We remember the crusade. The first crusade was the most successful crusade. It was done to reclaim Jerusalem, but it was hard because the knights were moving from Europe, different environment. They had their armor, metallic, fully clothed, chains all over, and they were going into the desert area. And it was difficult for them because they had to adapt to that terrain quickly, but they couldn't do it as quickly as the other guys felt. So these are the problems that happen. People feel despair at some point in their lives, right? But that is not the end of things. This guy, they conquered Antioch, right? And the Muslims were around them, and they were going to conquer them, to destroy them. And they were starved, they were hungry, right? And everything was happening badly, right? But things changed. Because they discovered something. They discovered a relic. It was called the First Lands, right? The Holy Lands. The Spear of Destiny. It's still in Rome. It's still under St. Peter's Basilica. Again, the Catholics don't claim that it's the real relic, but they say that it, yeah. So that is what happened. When they discovered it, they went and faced out the overwhelming number of Muslims who were around them. And it was tough for them. It was tough for them because they were in a different terrain away from Europe, but they kept fighting and they never lost their faith. And they won. And there's some guys who were putting up resistance. As soon as they saw that these guys had won, they gave up immediately because it was a stunning victory. The Japanese at Okinawa, right? What happened to them? They were told that when the US soldiers come, they kill, they rape, and they murder. And so when they saw the US soldiers, they jumped off their cliffs onto the ground, onto the waters, onto the rocks. And they died, many of them. But that was all a lie. The Americans were very kind to the Japanese when they met them, the civilians. So those who committed suicide died for nothing. If the Christians at Antioch had committed suicide because they were facing overwhelming odds, they wouldn't have won the battle. They would have died for nothing. So I believe, right, based on all of these things, that suicide is an inherently selfish act. It is a crime against the entire mechanism of the universe. how it is built, for what purpose it was built. Society, family, government, friendships, your own body, your own creativity. It is built to sustain life. It is not built for death. We as a people, we are not built to suffer. If you are suffering, somebody somewhere is not doing what they should be doing. For example, it could be yourself. Perhaps you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're failing to adapt. Perhaps the way is already there around you, but you're failing to adapt. For example, you could be going for toxic relationships simply because of money or because of physical appearance. Whereas the positive relationships, you're letting them go. Would you say that that suffering is because of somebody else or because of yourself? Because of a simple thing as failing to adapt. The redirection of effort, that could be another reason why people suffer. For example, we have geniuses around, people who know, okay, everybody's a genius, right? But there are people who are more gifted in certain areas than others. For example, there are people who know how to play about with chemicals. But then they are focusing on developing chemical weapons instead of developing medicine. So there are people who are suffering because some people have redirected their effort. At the same time, I wanted to say this, right? You could be you're failing on your own. Somebody who should be helping you could be failing. But at the same time, all of these things are known to an entity that created us. And this is what the entity says. He speaks through Paul. Not only that, we should feel secure in our trials. We should endure our trials with patience, because from patience comes merit, and from merit comes the source of hope, and hope will never disappoint. Hope does not disappoint because there's always something somewhere that has been put in place to rescue you from your situation. And if you give up too early, if the Christians at Antioch had given up too early, they would be dead. If the Japanese had not thrown themselves off the cliffs, they would have been alive. And they'd have seen the lies that their generals had told them. Hope never disappoints. Never lose hope. There are different kinds of suicide, right? I think there are about 4. I can't handle all of them. I wanted to give an example of one where there's somebody who kills themselves because of despair. There's somebody who goes into a dangerous situation knowing that he would die, but there's something inside that he's trying to do. There's something greater than his life. I'll give an example of Paul, right? Paul died by decapitation. That's according to a book. It's called the Acts of Paul. It's an apocryphal book. Tertullian, one of the early church fathers, he confirmed that. Tertullian is the guy who first came up with the theory of the Trinity, and then he became a heretic after that, and he was condemned. Okay, he became a heretic after that. Just a piece of history I don't want to mention. Digressing. So in the Acts of the Apostles, Paul says that he puts no value on his life. He has run the race and he has finished it. And now he is sure that where he's going, he will never see the people that he was speaking to again. He knows that he's going to die. At the same time, this woman who was committing suicide, she knew that she was going to die. Those are two different kinds of suicide. One is the result of despair. Another one is the result of hope. One builds a legacy of, let's say, death and despair. Because society suffers, the person suffers, and the loved one suffers. In the other one, it builds a legacy of hope. That people would feel that there's something greater than life, and they need to fight for it. Yes, living is good, but there's something greater than life. And if perhaps people would realize that, they would realize that if you don't lack fees, it's not the end of everything. If you don't have a car, it's not the end of everything. If you don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, it's not the end of everything. If you don't have children, it's not the end of everything. If you don't have a job, it's not the end of everything. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that, just to give a different perspective. Peter died by crucifixion, like Jesus. Paul died by decapitation, like John the Baptist. Both of them died in the eternal city otherwise known as Rome. Anyway, I think it's a bit important. We'll discuss that later. So is this issue worth discussing in Kenya? Should we discuss it? From 2008 to 2017, the suicide rate in Kenya increased by 58%. So if suicide is bad and it leads to effects on the society, on the person and the loved ones, and it's increasing in Kenya, then this is an issue worth discussing. In August 2018, 80 people committed suicide. They gave various reasons: stress, depression, mental illness. 5 of them are facing serious crimes, so they just kill themselves while they're in police custody. These are the reasons that people give for suicide. Suicide is increasing in Kenya, or perhaps the reports of suicide are increasing in Kenya. I believe that suicide is the result of sadness. I do not believe that we can medicate sadness. We have to overcome it somehow. But that's a discussion for another day. I wanted to mention suicide between the genders. Women are more emotional than men are. Are they not? So the impact of stress, the impact of depression, the impact of mental illness, as the reasons these guys give for suicide, it should affect women more than it does men. So logically, then women should commit suicide more than men because they're more emotional. So stress would affect them more. But it's not that way. 67 out of 80 people who committed suicide in August 2018, 67, they were men. Men are committing suicide on a far greater proportion than women are in Kenya. And I think that's the stats all over. And there are various reasons for that. One, I believe that it's because there's a lot of pressure on men. They are the dependents. They are the people who cannot run away from responsibility. Most of them, actually. Some of them try to run away. But the vast majority of them, you cannot run away from responsibility. And in a society such as Kenya, where even if you try to meet that responsibility, it's a bit hard, then what will you do? There's nobody else to look at. Everybody's looking at you. The buck stops with you. For women, there's a bit of flexibility. Perhaps they'll find a man. If a woman behaves this way, anyway, I'll just stop at that. Again, a lot of men, they're suffering because of slay queens. They won't speak about it, but it happens. The PWC guy who threw himself off a building. Right. They say that the woman that he had married, she was sleeping with a 23-year-old girl. These guys suffer. They just don't speak about it. Now, I believe that there's a continuous pounding on men. That's why they commit suicide more than women. Okay, just back to the story, right? Why did the woman commit suicide? She failed to raise fees for her kids. Over 200,000 kids could not join secondary school from primary school. That's in February last year, 2018. That's a lot of kids, right? This incidence of suicide, it took place in Kavisuni location, Katulani sub-county, Kitui Central. So that's what happened. It took place there. So I did a bit of research on Kitui. Primary school enrollment is at 343,000 students, right? Secondary school is at 84,000. Where are all these kids going to? What are the leaders over there doing? This is 2016 statistics. In 2018, still, we have mothers committing suicide because they cannot take their kids to school. Where is your MP? Where is your governor? They're talking about 2022. The poverty rate, right, in Kitui is around 39.4% in 2016. The name Kitui, it means a place where iron goods are made. The Kamba were very proud people. They were the best traders in the country back in the day, before the colonialists came. What happened to the Kamba nation? People are committing suicide because they can't take their kids to school. Kitui means a place where iron goods were made. Where is the iron now in Kitui? The poverty rate in Kenya, right, increased from 31% in 1992 to 42.8% at an annual rate of 13.11%. So do you expect these problems to go away? For kids to fail to get to secondary school? Rural poverty is worse than it is in urban poverty. It was at 49.1%. Okay, so from 2005 to 2015, we've improved a bit. We are at a poverty rate of 36.1%. But that's worse than 1992. 1992, we had 31% poverty rate. In 2015, we have 36.1% poverty rate. Do we expect these cases of suicide to reduce? Or do you expect them to increase? The daughter scored 395 in KCPE. I scored 395. She received admission letters from Machakos girls and Chokoria girls. Machakos girls and Chokoria girls. One in Embu, the other one in Machakos. There are schools in Kitui. Why does she receive admission letters from Embu and from Machakos? Just to mention some of the schools: Mulango schools, St. Angela's girls schools, Mbitini schools, Yambusie is a mixed school, and Mutale Girls High School is another school, girls school in Kitui. Why is she going to Embu and Machakos? Amina Mohammed and the people at Elimu House, I think it's called Elimu House, they have no business deciding where a girl in Kitui goes to school. That is the preserve of the people of Kitui. Devolve education. Get the government out of it, especially the central government. To the people at Elimu House, this girl is a statistic. To the people on the ground, she is a person. Perhaps they know her family, perhaps they know where they live, perhaps they know their financial situations. But those guys are signing people's schools in Elimu House or wherever. To them, they are statistics. Devolve that thing. The introduction of free primary education by the government, right? There is free secondary education. It rolled out some time back. Actually, the government spent 29 billion for free secondary education. That's the figures that were released by January 5th, 2018. So why are people committing suicide whereas there's provisions for free secondary education? I think these ones were for the day schools, right? So why is it not working? Because the government should not be in the business of providing education. The government should be in the business of providing research, facilitating research, and those kinds of things. Not in the business of providing education. That is the preserve of two things: the church and the parents. Where the parents are poor, the church should be there, but the church is focusing on tithe, mbegu, whatever, 310 the mbegu, and those kind of things. The church has failed. The government only goes into areas where it should not be to secure votes, to reward their loyal supporters, and to steal. And they have been stealing from the education sector for long, billions and billions, right? So that is what I had for today, right? I hope that I've said something worthwhile and something that can be useful. The government should stay out of education. Suicide affects so many people. Please do not commit suicide. And it affects yourself also. And we need to think about our leaders because they're not really helping and doing what they're supposed to be doing. That is what I had for today. Subscribe, right, to the channel. And keep watching. Share with your friends. If this information is worthwhile, share with your friends. Take care and bye-bye.